Hi everyone, it's Carrie. Welcome once again to I have lighting issues setup in every room I try to record in, so hopefully it's not too dark or too washed out. Anyways, today is a topic that it's for everyone, but it's probably more common among cis people. It's about misgendering and like how to react when you misgender someone, but also kind of I want to talk about like what that's like for us as like non-binary, genderqueer, trans people, what that experience is like. And it's been on my mind like all week for two reasons. One is that I got misgendered by someone who like they don't ever misgender me ever, and they haven't for since I came out to them, so like a year and a half going on 2 years, like however long I've been like out to everyone, they haven't messed it up until that moment. At least not in front of me. And then the second reason is I have a friend, acquaintance that I'm friendly with, who is a trans woman who is traveling this week, and she's been posting a lot on her social media about how she keeps getting misgendered. So it's like kept it in my mind. So I'm gonna tell you like my little story first. So this person, like I said, like they don't ever misgender me. They don't misgender me to other people. Like we've had conversations about like other people like being confused and how they handle it. And it's like, it really sucked because this is a person that like, until that moment, I genuinely thought like they were one of the few people who really actually, when they interacted with me, were interacting with me and like really saw me like as like a genderqueer non-binary person, as opposed to like going along and like, I don't know, just kind of being like whatever. And it was like in this moment where like I've been traveling for a couple days and like I knew they were just tired and probably stressed out, and it just slipped. But it was like, okay, but when you're like tired and stressed out, that's when you kind of like revert back to what you really think, or like you say things that like you don't mean them, but like they come from, I don't know, this place of that. So it was like, it really sucked, and it actually made it kind of difficult to interact with them for a while. And it's days later and I'm still kind of like, I'm not like, I don't hold grudges. I'm not like super pissed at this person. We're still like close, you know? But I've gone from, this was a person that I really trusted, and I still trust them, but like I really thought that like all of the affirming things they did and said about my gender were because they really thought and felt that way about me. And now it's like, but do they really? Or has it just kind of been a front this entire time because we are really good, close friends and they just like want to be affirming? So it sucks because now I'm not gonna hold I don't hold grudges really. It's not like I'm cutting this person out of my life. It was a genuine, like honest mistake. They looked absolutely appalled with themselves like as soon as it came out of their mouth, like, and they apologized. So we're cool, and like I haven't really talked to them about it. I thought about it and I was like, at this point, like all it's gonna do is make them feel worse. I don't think it's going to happen again, but I'm still gonna kind of have that like, but what if, do they really think that or feel that way for probably a really long time? So that's kind of what it feels like. Well, it is what it feels like when someone close to you misgenders you. It's like, oh, that you thought that they saw the real you, but like, do they really? Like now you don't know, and like you can't ever really know another person that way, but like, you kind of think you do, and then it sucks. And then my friend that's been traveling is in like a progressive city in a conservative state, much like Columbus is. And she's been talking about being misgendered by strangers, so like service people, primarily people that you see like out and about. And she made a comment, and it's from Julia Serrano's book, Whipping Girl, where she says, you know, there's this thing that happens where people like that meet you, if they don't know that you're trans, like, especially if you're binary trans, like they, them pronouns, it's a little different, but they will gender you correctly until they find out you're trans, and then all of a sudden they slip, even though they never knew you pre-transition. So she's kind of been dealing with that, and she's talked about like, she's been to this city before, and she feels like she's being misgendered a lot more than she was before Trump was elected president. And then she's like, oh, is this, you know, she's like, is it just in my head, or is this like actually worse because people feel more empowered to be dicks, I guess? And it can be kind of a power play if it's someone who like you're interacting with that way, and it's like they know that you're trans or they suspect you're trans, and so they're kind of intentionally misgendering you with like sirs and ma'ams and things. And it's, if you don't experience it, it's kind of hard to explain, but you can kind of get a vibe and tell when people are doing that kind of intentionally. And I think that is what she's been dealing with like for several days. And so I feel like because she's been talking about it, it's also like made me think about the similarities and differences. And one thing that she said is that it's like she put so much effort into her presentation. And if you saw her, you would probably presume that she is a woman. You may or may not suspect she is trans. It's not really the point. She has kind of like shoulder length hair. She wears makeup when she goes out. I think she pretty much like exclusively wears skirts. I've seen her wear pants like one time just because that's her style. But she's clearly presenting in a very like traditionally feminine manner. So even if you didn't know, like using she or miss would probably be the safer bet with her. And so what you should really do if you don't know someone's gender is either ask, like, what pronouns do you use? Or if it's a quick interaction, just don't use any gendered language. Like, you don't have to call someone sir or ma'am. And like, I get it. I've worked in the service industry, and I mean, I've done it. Like, people who are like cisgender, who appear very like traditionally masculine or feminine, like you will call sir or ma'am like the opposite by accident sometimes because you're just like in a flow and not paying attention. So like, I know that happens. Her, like, again, like when you experience it, like, you know when it's like a genuine, like, I'm not really paying attention versus, oh, like, this person is trans and I'm gonna like show them that I know that. And it just is like, why are people such jerks? I don't know. So anyways, all of that just to kind of say like, this is what like trans people deal with. And like, I've got a ton of videos on this channel about like they, them pronouns and using them and getting accustomed to using them. I'll try to remember to link something up there. The thing is, like, I don't really expect people to automatically assume like they, them pronouns with me. I would like them to. And I talk about all the time, I forget that people aren't necessarily like interpreting me that way because that's how I see myself. And I thought that's how some of my friends saw me, but like now I'm like, oh, kind of, maybe. It sucks. So what do you do? Like, I mean, my friend did the right thing. He corrected himself. There wasn't really an opportunity in that interaction for him to like then correctly gender me to this stranger. And I wish there would have been, because I feel like that would have been like at least a little like affirming moment for me, but it was just like the natural flow of conversation was not that way. Oh, it did also make that person interact with me incorrectly, and it was like, but yeah, so apologize, don't draw a lot of attention to it. And I've like, because I use they, them pronouns, it's a little difficult too sometimes, because it's one thing if somebody like misgenders you and says she, and then like they correct themselves and say he, because people, like the general population, has an understanding of what that means. But if they correct themselves to say like they or them, then sometimes that can open up like a big conversation that is not often appropriate for the situation, especially like in a service sector kind of thing. So apologize, don't draw attention to it. Correct yourself if you can, like just like you would with a cis person if you called them the wrong pronoun, because that, like I said, that happens sometimes. And maybe like follow up with the person afterwards if you're not sure, like, hey, did I handle that okay? Like, apologize to them. But trust me, they noticed. They did not have to say, I mean, my friend knew I noticed because I think I looked shocked and confused. And then I kind of did like the like elbow arm bump, like, what the dude, like, come on. Yeah, so it's really important not to misgender people. And like, we know that you're gonna make mistakes, but don't think just because we know that and we act understanding that it's like 100% okay and we're so cool with it, because we're not. It sucks. And we're definitely, we as like trans, non-binary, genderqueer people are definitely kind of questioning what you actually think of us when you do that. And no one really wants to be in that position, like, ever. Anyways, like, I talked about this a long time to say, apologize, don't draw attention to it. Check with people, like, how you want them to interact. My preference is that you gender me correctly at all times with all people. My attitude is I'm out. I'm fine with people telling other people that I'm genderqueer, non-binary, trans, explaining I use those pronouns. Like, I don't hide it from people. Not everyone has that luxury in life or preference in life. So if you don't know from someone, just ask. And that's it. Goodbye. Have a great week.